few hours ago, the former director of the Russian FSB, and the current chairman of the Association of Lawyers of Russia, Sergei Stepashin, made a rather shocking statement. In particular, answering journalists' questions, he officially stated that Russia had begun preparing an analog of the Nuremberg trials of all Ukrainian Nazis, including all representatives of the Kiev regime. According to Sergei Stepashin, at the moment, all Russian law enforcement agencies are painstakingly working to create a tribunal for all Ukrainian neo-Nazis. Sergei Stepashin noted that Russian law enforcement agencies have been documenting all crimes committed by representatives of the Kiev regime since 2013. Furthermore, Stepashin also claimed thousands of war crimes that were committed by Ukrainian neo-Nazis in the Kursk region. According to him, Russia knows the names of all these war criminals, and that no one can escape the punishment they deserve. We are currently working on this carefully. The prosecutor's office, the investigative committee, and the FSB are preparing a tribunal for these war criminals. They will answer for all their crimes, committed not only against the residents of Donbass, but also against the residents of the Kursk region. They are the real killers and sadists. And all of them will be punished, Sergei Stepashin said. Furthermore, speaking to reporters, the senior Russian official said that this tribunal over Ukrainian neo-Nazis would take place in one of the liberated cities of Donbass, after the end of a special military operation. My dear truth seekers, it is worth noting that Russia regularly transmits to the United Nations evidence of the war crimes of the Kiev regime, committed on the territory of the liberated regions of Donbass. And judging by the incoming information, all these actions of Russia have already yielded results. As it turned out, on the morning of December 9, the United Nations International Court of Justice accepted Russia's counterclaim against Ukraine, in which Moscow accused Kiev of genocide of the population of the republics of Donbass. Against this backdrop, the International Court of Justice ordered Moscow to provide all evidence of this genocide by December 7, 2027. Furthermore, unfortunately for the representatives of the Kiev regime, Ukraine was never able to convince the relevant UN structures that Russia had committed genocide against the Ukrainian population in 2022 and 2023. Thus, it becomes clear that after winning the current conflict, and achieving all the goals of the special military operation, Russia will not rest until all representatives of the Kiev regime receive the punishment they deserve. By the way, commenting on the future tribunal of Ukrainian war criminals, the authoritative Russian military correspondent Alexander Gladkov said that the head of the Kiev regime, Volodymyr Zelensky, is doomed. According to him, this dead man walking is already preparing to escape from Ukraine. However, right after that, Alexander Gladkov added that this Kiev dictator is likely to be killed by the Ukrainians themselves, or by the special services of some Western countries. According to Alexander Gladkov, Zelensky, with the stolen billions, will not feel safe either in Israel, France, or even in the United States, since President Trump not only does not like losers, but also has a particular antipathy to Zelensky. In this regard, Alexander Gladkov expressed confidence that Zelensky would most likely flee to London, or he would live under the hood of the British intelligence service MI6, whose employees would regularly empty the contents of his wallet, full of stolen billions. Of course, this will not be pleasant for Zelensky himself. However, he has no other choice. So, he will endure, gritting his teeth. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian army's position continues to deteriorate rapidly in all key directions of the front. In particular, on the morning of December 9, war correspondents officially confirmed that Ukrainian troops had lost another large settlement. This time, on the border of the Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk regions. We are talking about the urban-type village of Ostapovskoye. As it turned out, on December 8, assault units of the 36th Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Army completely destroyed the Ukrainian defense in this settlement, forcing the remaining enemy units to flee to Andriivka, which is located in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Moreover, it is reported that after the liberation of Ostapovskoye, Russian troops continued to pursue the retreating Ukrainian units. Reports indicate that currently, Russian forces are rapidly approaching the settlement of Andriivka, in the southeastern part of the Dnipropetrovsk region. Over the past 24 hours, the Russian army's successes have also been recorded in Pokrovsk direction. In particular, right after the liberation of the settlement of Rodinskoye, the Russian army decided to build on its success, and entered Suketskoye on the move. It is noteworthy that already on the evening of December 8, war correspondents began to announce the flight of Ukrainian units from this settlement. Thus, with the liberation of Rodinskoye and Suketskoye, the Russian army completely deprived the Ukrainian command of the opportunity to organize a powerful strike, to unblock the encircled city of Mirnograd. By the way, in Mirnograd itself, Russian troops have established control over the entire southern part of the city. However, in the northern part of Mirnograd, the Ukrainian group continues to put up fierce resistance. Even though some militants continue to surrender to the Russian army regularly, most of the fighters in this Ukrainian group refuse to lay down their arms. They are mostly ardent Nazis and representatives of the armies of NATO countries. Furthermore, sources in the Russian Defense Ministry confirmed that there are also Ukrainian and NATO officers among them. Against this backdrop, on December 9, the chief of the Russian General Staff, Army General Valery Gerasimov, visited one of the command posts in Pokrovsk direction. In particular, he ordered to accelerate the liberation of Mirnograd and destroy all those who refuse to surrender. In this regard, it is safe to assume that in the coming days, Russia will once again use Fab 5000 high-explosive aerial bombs in Mirnograd, the explosive wave of which is capable of destroying all life within a radius of 800–900 meters.